If you were to design a country that nature itself would defend, you might end up drawing Greece. From the very first glance, its geography is an obstacle course crafted to exhaust, divide, and punish any would-be invader. Nearly 80% of the land is covered by mountains, making Greece the most mountainous country in all of Europe. This means an army entering Greece is not marching on smooth plains or through open fields. They are forced into a world of sharp ridges, treacherous valleys, and passes so narrow that 10 men can hold back thousands. Unlike the fertile lowlands of France or the open steppes of Eastern Europe, Greece offers no easy path for invasion. The land itself resists. The most famous of these mountain ranges is the Pindus, sometimes called the spine of Greece. Stretching across the mainland, it acts as a natural wall, cutting off easy movement and dividing any advancing army into fragments. Every valley is a potential trap, every plateau a ready-made battlefield. Roads are scarce, and those that exist often twist through gorges where defenders can strike from above and vanish into the landscape. This is not just defensive terrain, it is ambush terrain. And then, surrounding and weaving through the land, lies the sea. Greece boasts over 15,000 kilometers of coastline, longer than France and Germany combined, and more than 3,000 islands scattered across the Aegean and Ionian seas. For an invading navy, this is not a highway, it is a maze. Every island can be fortified, every channel mined, every bay an ambush zone. To even approach the Greek mainland requires navigating one of the most complex maritime geographies on Earth. When mountains and sea combine, the result is staggering. Imagine trying to march an army while supply lines must crawl up switchback roads and across narrow bridges, while naval reinforcements are forced to weave through islands that could hide submarines, missile batteries, or ambush fleets. Conquest becomes not a campaign, but a logistical nightmare. It is no accident that Greece, though small, has resisted some of the greatest powers in history. Nature built this land not as a highway for conquerors, but as a fortress for defenders. History proves the point again and again. When invaders enter Greece, the mountains fight for the defenders. Over 2,500 years ago, in 480 BC, the Persian Empire marched west under King Xerxes. His forces were said to number in the hundreds of thousands, dwarfing the tiny Greek city-states. Yet when they reached the pass of Thermopylae, everything changed. Here, the mountains narrowed into a bottleneck where only a handful could march at once. King Leonidas of Sparta and his 300 warriors, backed by a few thousand allies, turned the terrain into their ally. For days, the Persians were funneled into the pass, unable to use their numbers, cut down wave after wave by defenders who fought with the strength of stone itself. Though the Spartans were eventually overwhelmed, their stand bought time for the Greek cities to rally and left a scar on Persian pride. Centuries later, the same geography shattered Mussolini's dream of glory. In 1940, Italian forces invaded from Albania, expecting to crush the Greeks in weeks. Instead, they were thrown back in humiliation. Outnumbered Greek defenders used the Pindus Mountains to their advantage, ambushing Italian columns, blocking passes, and launching counterattacks. Italy's elite Alpine division, designed for mountain warfare, was ironically undone by the very landscape they were trained for. They were surrounded, trapped, and forced into retreat. Mussolini's easy conquest became a national embarrassment. Even Nazi Germany, master of blitzkrieg, paid the price. In 1941, when Hitler launched Operation Marita to rescue his Italian ally, his armored divisions and paratroopers smashed through Yugoslavia and descended into Greece. Yet what should have been a lightning strike turned into a grinding campaign. Defenders forced German troops to fight in valleys, seize bridges, and storm ridges under fire. The mountains slowed the Wehrmacht for weeks, delaying Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union, by over a month. That delay forced German troops into the Russian winter unprepared. A mistake many historians argue altered the entire course of the war. From Leonidas to World War II partisans, the pattern is clear. Greece's mountains are more than scenery, they are weapons. They carve invading armies into pieces, strip away the advantage of numbers, and give even the smallest force the chance to fight giants. Down armies, the seas of Greece devour navies. The Aegean and Ionian seas are dotted with thousands of islands, islets, and rocky outcroppings. To a tourist, they are paradise. To an invader, they are a death trap. Unlike the open waters of the Atlantic, where fleets can maneuver freely, Greece's seas force ships into narrow straits and crowded channels. Here, speed and maneuverability beat size and numbers. The most famous example came at the Battle of Salamis in 480 BC after Thermopylae. Xerxes sought to crush the Greeks. With his massive fleet outnumbering the defenders 3-1, the Greeks lured him into the narrow straits near Athens, where the vast Persian fleet was too cramped to maneuver. Small, agile Greek triremes rammed and sank ship after ship, turning numerical superiority into a curse. Xerxes watched from the shore as his fleet burned, realizing that the sea itself had betrayed him. In modern warfare, the geography of the Aegean remains just as dangerous. Every island can host missile batteries, radar stations, or submarines. Naval strategists call it an anti-axis nightmare. To invade by sea, an enemy must fight island by island, cove by cove, each one capable of becoming a fortress. Imagine trying to land an army while every approach is within range of anti-ship missiles hidden on rocky outcrops, or submarines lying silent beneath the waves. It would be less an invasion than a series of sieges spread across the sea. Even today, the Hellenic Navy turns this geography into an advantage. Modern frigates patrol the straits, advanced submarines prowl the depths, and coastal defenses line the islands. For any hostile navy, the Aegean is not a battlefield. It is a graveyard waiting to happen. But geography alone does not explain Greece's resilience. What makes invasion nearly impossible is the spirit of the people who live there. For centuries, Greece has been a land of resistance. Under Ottoman rule, guerrilla fighters called klefts waged endless war from the mountains, striking patrols and vanishing into the hills. When the Greek War of Independence erupted in 1821, that spirit of resistance exploded into full force, giving birth to a modern nation forged in defiance. In World War II, even after the Nazis occupied Greece, resistance never ended. Fighters sabotaged railways, ambushed convoys, and turned entire regions into ungovernable zones. Villages gave shelter, women smuggled intelligence, children carried supplies. Occupation became a nightmare, draining German resources and morale. Hitler's army could conquer territory, but it could not conquer the will of the people. This cultural memory runs deep. Greece has always been a nation defined by struggle. The mythology of Leonidas, the legacy of Salamis, the defiance against Ottomans and Nazis, these are not just stories, but part of national identity. To invade Greece is not to fight an army. It is to fight a people who see resistance as duty, as destiny. Even today, military service is compulsory, and patriotism runs strong. Any invader would not face soldiers alone. They would face an entire society determined to make occupation unbearable. IF geography and spirit explain the past. Modern weapons explain why Greece is nearly untouchable today. The Hellenic armed forces have turned the natural fortress into a fortress of steel. Greece spends about 3.1% of its GDP on defense, one of the highest rates in NATO, far above the 2% minimum. This investment has built one of Europe's most capable militaries. The Hellenic Air Force is among the strongest in the region. Its fleet includes upgraded F-16 Viper jets, French Rafale fighters, and an incoming order of American F-35 stealth aircraft, scheduled for delivery by 2028. These planes carry cutting-edge radar, missiles, and precision strike systems, giving Greece air superiority over its skies and seas. Any invading force would be detected, tracked, and targeted long before landing. The Navy is equally formidable. Greek submarines, especially the German-built Type 214 class, are considered some of the quietest and deadliest in the world. Armed with advanced torpedoes and potentially cruise missiles, they can strike targets hundreds of kilometers away. Frigates like the French Belhara class, equipped with state-of-the-art missile systems, patrol the Aegean. Together, they make the seas around Greece almost impenetrable. On land, Greece has fortified its islands with anti-ship and anti-aircraft systems, effectively turning them into unsinkable aircraft carriers. Early warning radars, coastal defenses, and layered missile shields, some modeled on Israel's Iron Dome, ensure that any air or sea attack would face overwhelming resistance. Geography provides the terrain. Modern technology provides the firepower. The result is a defense system designed to make invasion not just difficult, but suicidal. No modern discussion of Greece's security is complete without alliances. As a member of NATO, Greece enjoys the protection of the world's most powerful military alliance. An attack on Greece could trigger Article 5, bringing in the United States, the United Kingdom, France, and Germany. That alone makes any invasion an international gamble of catastrophic proportions. But Greece has gone further. In 2021, it signed a direct defense pact with France. Unlike NATO, which requires consensus, this bilateral treaty guarantees French military support if Greece is attacked. With one of Europe's most powerful militaries at its side, Athens has doubled its deterrent dot at the same time. Greece has built partnerships with Israel, Egypt, and Cyprus, forming a strategic axis in the Eastern Mediterranean. Together, these states share intelligence, conduct joint exercises, and coordinate energy security. In an era of shifting alliances, this web of partners strengthens Greece's position. Yet, challenges remain. The greatest comes not from distant powers, but from its neighbor, Turkey. Both nations are NATO members, but disputes over airspace, maritime borders, and energy rights have brought them to the brink of confrontation again and again. NATO cannot easily intervene between allies, which forces Greece to maintain exceptionally strong independent defenses. It cannot rely solely on alliances. It must be able to stand alone. And history shows it can. So why is Greece impossible to invade? The truth is layered. Geography ensures that every path into the country is a gauntlet of mountains, valleys, and seas. History has shown that empires from Persia to Mussolini to Hitler bleed themselves dry trying to conquer it. The people, steeped in centuries of resistance, refuse to yield even when their land is occupied. Modern weapons, advanced aircraft, submarines, and missile defenses transform natural advantages into deadly force. And alliances from NATO to France and regional partners raise the cost of aggression to unbearable levels. But there is a deeper truth. Greece is not truly impossible to conquer. Nazi Germany did it. Others tried and failed. What makes Greece unique is not absolute invulnerability, but the price of conquest. Every invader who sets foot on its mountains or sails into its seas must ask, is the prize worth the cost? And history's answer, again and again, is no. The time lost, the blood spilled, the resistance endured, it is too much. That is the real power of Greece. It is not just defended by soldiers or weapons, but by the very shape of its land, the memory of its people, and the alliances it commands. To march into Greece is to march into a trap that has swallowed armies, delayed empires, and altered the course of world history. And in the 21st century, with modern firepower and global alliances, that trap has only grown sharper. So the next time you look at the map of Europe and see that small nation on the edge of the Mediterranean, remember this: Greece is more than a country. It is a fortress of stone and sea, of memory and will. A fortress that has stood for thousands of years, and one that will likely stand for thousands more. If you found this deep dive into history and strategy compelling, hit the like button, subscribe for more global insights, and let us know in the comments, do you think any power today could ever invade Greece? Or has history already proven that this land is unconquerable?